Hey guys, what's going on? This is another video. This is my Enthroned Collection. Enthroned is a Belgian black metal band that started in 1994. Their first release was in 1994. It was a promo, 5-song promo that they actually just re-released. I think it was on vinyl. I can't remember who did it, but I heard I haven't listened to that in I can't even tell you how long, but people were raving about it, and I listened to it again on, I think YouTube or something. I was like, holy shit, I need to get this. It's really fucking good old school black metal, and of course it's sold out everywhere. But yeah, it's a really solid first demo. Just great raw black metal. I love the production. I'd give it like a 7 out of 10. And so after that, they released their first full length in 1995, Prophecies of Pagan Fire. Now, I have this dopey 4-CD collection by Blackened Records, which is just really, the band didn't even approve it, I think the story goes. It's a pretty shitty, the lyrics aren't even right on some songs. The Apocalypse Manifesto is missing one song. It's just kind of, I have to get all of these albums on their own in physical format, because it's an okay placeholder, but I don't know, it's just not a dignified release in my eyes. But anyway, I do have Prophecies of Pagan Fire in some respect. It's a very good album. I feel like it's a little too long. It kind of carries on at some parts, and it's very, very minimalistic, but it is atmospheric. It's a solid first album. I really like Tales from a Blackened Horde. Deny the Holy Book of Lies is great. The Sound of Millennium Black Bells. It has some pretty awesome songs on here. But overall, there's debuts by bands that I like more than this, so I'd probably give it a 7.5 out of 10. It's good stuff. And then after that, in 1997, they followed up with Towards the Skull Throne of Satan, which is, let's see if I have pictures. Yeah, this one here. Very good album. It's a little, again, it's kind of one-dimensional because the drumming all sounds the same. I'll get into the drummers a lot in this video because a lot of them just kind of annoy me. But he's a very good Cernunnos, who was the guy who died after this album. He committed suicide. I think he was fucking 27 or something. He's a good drummer for what he does. It's just, he's not a very creative dude, and he kind of just blasts the whole time. But it works, you just kind of have to be in the mood for it. But yeah, no, the songs are super catchy. All of them are memorable. Yeah, there's classics on here, like Ultimate Horde Fights, Ha Shaitan, Evil Church, which might be their biggest song, Forest of Nathrak, Throne of Purgatory, Herdigenwald. This is a great, great album. It took me a little while to appreciate it because, like I said, it's a little pigeonholed on the production-wise, but it is a really good album. I would even give this an 8.5 out of 10. And then after that, they released Reggie Sathanas, a tribute to Cernunnos, who was the drummer who I just spoke about, who killed himself. This is a very good little EP. It's short. The song by Dark Glorious Thoughts is an original by them. Very, very good song. Really cool build-up towards the latter half of the song. There's also a track on here from one of their earlier bands. I can't remember the name of it. It's not bad. It's very old school. And they cover The Conqueror by Sodom, which is a very good song. And they re-record Deny the Holy Book of Lies from Prophecies of Pagan Fire. So it's an interesting EP. I like it. I'm glad I bought it. I actually think I found this used, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I'd give this a 7 out of 10. It's solid. And then after that, they released the Apocalypse Manifesto with a new drummer. And man, this album is just relentless. This might be my favorite album by them. It's either this or one coming up. Yeah, it's this one here. Fucking fantastic album. It's just complete chaos. The production is fucking apocalyptic sounding, just like the album title. The drumming is just ridiculous. His blast beats for minutes on end. The vocals are just completely hellish. Just an absolute masterpiece in the genre. Easily a 9.5 out of 10. It's one of my favorite black metal albums. And then after that, in 2001, I don't know, this is my least favorite out of the 4 albums that I'm mentioning here, but somehow I found it on physical format. I think I got this used too. But 2001 came Armored Bestial Hell, which I didn't like for the longest time because the drumming on it is just awful. It's just so bad. Between the drumming itself and the production, it's just like, what? How did this like pass anything? I don't understand it. But this is definitely their most violent album. The vocal performance is great. It's just so aggressive. The riffs are really, really intense. Like, just the production and everything is just very in your face. There are some good songs. Wrapped in Fire is cool. When Hell Freezes Over is cool. The title track. There's some good songs, but again, it's not the most well-executed performance by them by any means. So it definitely has its place, but it's not my favorite, so I'd probably give this like a 6.5 out of 10. Then after that, they released the EP in 2003, which is a quick 7-inch, 2 songs, just furious fucking black metal, amateurly performed, kind of like on Armored Bestial Hell. It's called Goat Lust. I don't own it, but it is a good album, good little EP. I'd probably give it like a 6.5 out of 10. After that, in 2002, they came out with Carnage and Worlds Beyond, and they actually invested in getting, ready for this, a good, competent drummer. What a concept. It's such a breath of fresh air. Again, this album is completely hellish. By the way, it's like the worst album cover ever. It's so lame. But this is a fucking, ferocious album. Just in your face. Boundless Demonication, Infernal Flesh Massacre, Bloodline, Radiance of Mordacity, which they still play live from time to time. Excellent album. This is an 8.5 out of 10. And then after that, they released in 2004 Zest Hereticum, which is tied with Apocalypse Manifesto, is my favorite by them. Just an absolutely brilliant, and like this time the sound in this album is a little bit more melodic, and it's very well produced, but in a very tasteful way. Like, it's still intense as shit, but there's so much melody to it. It's the perfect blending of, say, like Towards the Skull Throne of Satan as far as the melody goes, with the ferocity of Apocalypse Manifesto and Armored Bestial Hell and all that. I mean, there's so many good songs on here. Crimson Legions. I remember I heard that when I was like in 7th grade, I think, or something. I was just like, holy fuck, the drumming is like, what the fuck? It's fucking crazy. Dance with Thousand Knives is catchy as hell. Last Will, again, another catchy song. Vortex of Confusion has such a great melody. Demon's Claw is like fucking intense as hell. The whole album, just amazing. Easy 9.5 out of 10. If you haven't heard this rare gem, because no one really talks about it, definitely check this out. And then after that, they released a live album, Black Goat Ritual, Live in Thy Flesh, 2005, somewhere in Mexico, I believe. It's a solid album, has a really good set list. It's definitely worth the purchase. This is the last album with Sabathon, because I'd probably give this a 7 out of 10. Because after this, they released, or Sabathon left, so Nornegest, the guitarist, stepped up on vocals, and they released Tetracarcist, which to me is probably their darkest album. There's a lot of atmosphere on here. I really like the approach they took. They still have the classic solos and all of that in it, but it's definitely a different sound with Nornegest as the front man. But it has a lot of really good songs on here. Prey, Tell 'em Scorpionus, Burning Dawn, Through the Cortex. Pretty much the whole album is great, honestly. Probably the best in this latter era of Enthroned. I would give this an 8.5 out of 10. It's a very good, underlooked album. And I say it's probably the best because the next one is when it starts to go downhill. This is Pentagrammaton in 2010. They have Garghuff on drums instead of Alsfid, who was on the previous 3. And he's kind of sloppy on this. I don't really like it that much. He's kind of all over the place. There's really not that many good songs on here. Like, the Vitalized Shell is pretty cool. The title track and Unconscious Minds are probably my favorites, but the rest of it is pretty forgettable. It's just, I don't know, the songwriting is just not as good as their other albums. I just feel like the riffs and like the song structures themselves are kind of like eh. Like, it's a pretty cool atmosphere. They go with the whole like cave darkness thing, but overall it's just pretty passable. I'd give this like a 6 out of 10. But then after that, in 2012, they came out with Obsidian, and they still have Garghuff on drums for this album, but man, did he step it up. This album, I fucking love this album. I don't know if I like it quite as much as Tetracarsis, but there are a lot of fucking bangers on here. Horns of Flame, Deathmore, Oblivious Shades, Final Architect, Petroleum Saliva, Nona Sacratum. I mean, pretty much this entire album there's not a bad song, and they all stand out in their own way, and Garghuff's drumming on here is so fucking cool. Like, he's so ambitious, and he pulls it off, which is awesome. For the most part, he pulls it off. It's a very impressive work. There's a lot of hyper blasting, but it's tasteful. The riffs are great. There's a lot of dimension to this album. I think this one's really overlooked. Not enough people talk about this. I would honestly give this an 8.5 out of 10. Very, very good album. And after that, in 2014, they got a new drummer. His name is Menthor, and they released Sovereigns. So this album is pretty fucking stale. And so I'm a drummer, so I apologize if it seems like I'm talking about the drumming too much, but the drummer himself, Menthor, is just so boring. Like, there's no creativity to him. He's either doing the boringest, like, halftime 2/4 beat, or he's just blasting away, but there's no in between. There's, like, no fills. There's no, like, expression to it. It's just really, really fucking boring and stale. There are some good songs. Divine Coagulation, and the last song, which I can't pronounce, but the last song is one of my favorite songs they've written in, like, years. It's a really fucking good song. It's just straight blasting, but the riffs and the atmosphere are fucking awesome. But other than that, even their popular songs, like Of Feathers and Flames and the title track, they're fine, but there's, like, no depth to it, and the riffs are kind of eh. I don't know. This album's, like, kind of disappointing. I'd probably give it, like, a 5 out of 10. I just feel like the songwriting is just very boring for the most part. There's some good moments, but overall, it's just, I don't know. And then after that, in 2019, they released Coal Black Suns. I don't own this album because I heard it when it came out, and I was like, I am not very impressed by this. It's more of the same of Sovereigns, but it's even more boring. I just don't think Enthroned does well with, like, the slower atmospheric parts. It reminds me of, like, when 1349 released Revelations of the Black Flame, and it was just like, nope, not working. Go back to the original formula. It's just boring as shit. There's some good moments. The first song's a fucking snooze fest, but the second song, Hosanna Satana, is really good. Smoking Mirrors, pretty good. The rest of them are just not memorable. I listened to this again recently just because I wanted to revisit it, and I was not impressed. So I'd give this like a 4 out of 10. I don't really have a lot of hope for future releases in terms of quality. And as long as they keep on that Menthor drummer, who's just a complete snooze fest, like, I don't know. I mean, maybe they should hang it up, or maybe they'll surprise me with the next release. But overall, I'm not that hopeful. But nonetheless, Enthroned has some classic fucking albums in their discography, and it would be unwise to not dive into that if you haven't already. So do that. I love Enthroned. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you guys later.